Let me introduce myself. My name is Twan, and for the past 2 years, 2.5 years, my wife and I own a coffee and boba shop, and I love it. I love it so much that I want to teach other people how to open their own shop. I think it's very possible, and I think the possibility is there because, well, it's there if you do it right. And I've learned how to make it right. And I want to share that with you. So, today we're going to talk about if you've been interested in opening a coffee or boba shop, I think you should do it. Um, to give you some background on myself, I went to college, graduated, and I worked for a corporate job, and I was making $100,000 a year. I was making very good money. But like a lot of people, it just it wasn't, like you get there and you thought that's what you wanted, but you, you find out it's like this isn't what it's cracked up to be. I'm making a good amount of money for what I'm doing, but it just didn't feel right. But I didn't know what to do. So it's kind of a long story, but I came back to my hometown. Now I live in Nebraska. The city I live in is population wise maybe about 50,000 or so. And um, I started this shop with my wife. And I'll tell you what, I work more now than I did when I had my corporate job, but I enjoy myself more. Every single day that I'm working, I'm feeling like I'm like somehow really like building something for myself and for my family and for my kid. And I get to interact with customers all day. I go home and I get to turn off my brain. I mean, there's things that I think about, but primarily it's pretty stress-free. And I get to be a barista all day. Like it's really, really fun. So if you think that's something you would be interested in, let me tell you a little bit about it. Um, I think that there is a secret recipe to making this work. Now, if you live in a really big city, I think you can make it work. But in my experience, I think if you live in a city that have maybe, I'd say, you know, maybe 20,000, 20 to 50,000 is really the sweet spot. I think you can make it work in a lot smaller city. But the thing you have to just see is there competition? So there might be a lot of coffee shops out there. They are competition. However, when you have a coffee and boba shop, it is a very different business. Because boba, even though I've been drinking this stuff for more than a decade now, a lot of places don't have it. For instance, the town that I'm in, I'm basically the second shop to open up a boba shop in a town of 50,000 people. And I'm still, to this day, still getting people coming by and they're like, "What is boba?" You know, they're asking me about it. I get to introduce them to basically a whole new subset of drinks. Um, that you can sell them, and then nobody else, like, you literally don't have any competition. So I think that's the step number one to making this work. You got to recognize if you live in a place that have a lot of boba shops. I think it's okay if you work if your town has a lot of coffee shops, because you can still differentiate yourself by selling coffee and boba. But that's the biggest one. Are there other boba shops? And if there's not boba shops there, I think you have a really good shot of making this work. Like a really, really good shot. And if you guys wait until the end of this video, I'll talk about some numbers so you can kind of know what to expect. Okay. So I think that's the first one. Is that there a lot of competition in the city that you live in? And if the answer is no, then I think you have a really, really, really good shot of making this work. Obviously, you're gonna need, a quality product, and you're gonna want to follow this page because I'll try my best to kind of share my recipes and such as, and I want to make a community around this too because I want to show you guys how to do this because I really enjoy my life. I enjoy what I do, and I make enough money to feel like it's warrant the effort, the work. So I think you do too. And it's not always about the money, of course, too, but sometimes you can make enough money so that you can have some more free time in your life. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but yeah, the first thing is going to be the competition. The second thing is you need y- you need to dive deep into boba. Like you can't just like it's not a secondary thing and you like sell coffee. No, you need to sell coffee and boba. And why those two go well together is because the drinks have a lot of symmetry. So for instance, a bestseller, not the bestseller, but a bestseller, a good seller, like top 5, top 10 drink in my store is a coffee boba. So what is that? It's gonna be like an iced coffee that you can do caramel or hazelnut or any of those other flavors, but you add bobas to it. No other coffee shop in your town is gonna be able to do that. So what bobas do you add to an iced coffee? Tapioca is probably the number one. Brown sugar burst is very popular. Coffee jelly is very popular. Coconut bursting is really popular. All of those flavors actually go really well with coffee. So now you have a competitive advantage. You can sell iced coffee, have bobas in them. And when you add bobas to the drink, it really adds almost another layer of like interesting complexity to that drink that people are really gonna resonate with. They like it. It adds some texture to the drink. It's a really, really good drink, the iced coffee. And then you can also do it like a frap. So for customers that like caramel fraps, vanilla bean fraps, you can add bobas to that as well. It's super, super easy. Um, Now you can't do bobas in the hot drinks. I mean, technically you can, but most people do it in the ice drinks. All right, so the drinks have a lot of symmetry. They work well together. But the other thing that adding boba or making sure you have a big emphasis on boba is because a lot of your morning customers are going to buy coffee. They come in for their hot coffee. They come in for their snacks, their baked goods in the morning. But a lot of coffee shops tend to kind of get slower at the end of the day because people don't want to drink caffeine too late, you know? So this is where boba comes in. Coffee is great for the morning. Boba is great for the afternoon. So now you have two products that are going to keep you busy all day. Um, the boba drinks, most of them are gonna be like fruit teas. So it is really light. It does have small amount of caffeine in it, but they're fruity flavors and it won't give you the jittery of coffee at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So we sell a lot of fruit teas in the afternoon. You can sell blended bobas, blended strawberries, blended mangoes, so those are popular drinks. Speaking of blended drinks, another reason why you want to do the bobas very well integrated into the coffee shop as well is because you have a whole different clientele. This is a really big one. Imagine the majority of your customers that come in your coffee shop are going to be like older, like people like us, right? Maybe like 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. But you know who wants bobas? Kids want bobas. So now you have parents getting coffee and kids getting bobas. Your ticket, your order tickets are going to be higher because you have a whole new demographic to sell to. You know, a 10-year-old is not going to want to come in and get any kind of coffee you have at your coffee shop, but they're going to want to come in and get a boba. They're going to want to come in and get that brown sugar milk tea. It's the drink that they like. You're going to stay busier through the day because you have different product offering, but also to a different demographic. It's a win-win. You got to have the boba in the coffee shop. All right. So recap, you're going to be You gotta make sure that you live in a place that doesn't have a lot of competition for bobas, and I'm telling you, that's a lot of places. Not many people have boba shops. And 2, you gotta make sure that you integrate boba into that coffee boba. It just they have to work together. You gotta make them work. It's not an afterthought, and if you can do that, you're gonna have a winning product. All right. Well, I'm not going to make this video too long, but those are two really big points that I think if you can think about and you can make that work, I think you're going to have a winning recipe. All right. Now, if you're wondering how much money can I make selling coffee and boba? This was a question that I had when I was doing research, and I really couldn't get like a solid answer from anybody. And that might be for good reasons because it depends so much. Do you live in a big city? Do you live in a small city? How good is your product? It's really hard to kind of give anybody a concrete answer. I just remember that when I was doing the math with my wife, when we're opening the shop, we're thinking we have to sell a minimum of 100 drinks a day to really kind of make it work, right? I'm telling you right now, in the city that I live in with about 50,000 people, and there's a total of about 2 boba shops, really, and then maybe about 5 or 6 coffee shops. Last year, I averaged about 146 drinks a day, right? Some days are lower, some days are higher, but that's what I averaged throughout the whole entire year. And if you do the math, depends on how many days you're gonna be closed, obviously for the holiday and stuff. We sold closer to about 52,000 drinks for the whole year. That's a lot of drinks, right? That's something you can do. It's very achievable. This is our second year of business, you know? Yeah, I hope to grow that, but like that is possible. If you have a good product and you're in a position in a market where you can make yourself stand out and do advertising and obviously treat customers well, that's very possible to do. Sell 142 drinks a day. If you live in a smaller town, you might sell a little less. You might sell 70, 80 drinks. Now that you know how many drinks I sold last year, you can maybe use it as an example for yourself of roughly how much you can sell based on the city that you live in. If you have a lower population, maybe you can take a smaller amount of that. But just to give you an idea of that's how many drinks we sold. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like I don't know what other shops do, so I can't tell you if we're doing exceptionally well or if we're doing poorly, but I can tell you it's enough to pay the bills and for us to basically take care of our family. We're not getting rich out here, but the other thing too about your take home is, are you gonna have staff members? I have about 3 part timers, and we had more staff before, but uh, if you're willing to work more hours, then you're gonna make the majority of that money. But if you're gonna have staff members, then that cuts into your profit margins as well. So, anyways, I think I'm gonna end this here. I just wanted to share kind of a big overview of my experience and things that you can expect and things for you to think about. If you liked what you watched today, follow the channel. I hope to make more videos in the future. I just need to bring myself to doing it. I run a business and I have a kid as well too, so it's hard to make time to do this, but I will try. Follow the channel. Um, any questions you might have below, feel free to comment. I'll try my best to answer them. And I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.